Hey guys! So it's hard to express just how exhilarating it is to live in a place where you feel like your values are reflected in everyday life. What's especially remarkable to me is the fact that Denmark is a country built on Protestant values. And those values have persisted despite the fact that this is a very secular country. I personally am Lutheran. I actually met my husband in the Lutheran church when we were 12 years old. But I also am liberal, and that means that I've always had a very strong support for separation of church and state. And what's interesting in Denmark is there is still a state church. So there is one church, the Evangelical Lutheran Church of Denmark, that is recognized by the state and supported by the state through funds contributed by the general population. And there's a high membership in this state church, right? So upwards of 70% of the population contributes or ascribes to this state church. But only 2 to 3% of the Danish population are actually going to church and actively maybe practicing that faith. What's striking, however, Danes live the epitome of what a Christian should live. And I'm not saying that goodwill and a trusting society and treating others as they deserve to be treated is an exclusively Christian platform. It's not. However, Christianity, as it is, core beliefs include those things. And the United States is seen as this godly nation, right? I mean, 30 to 40% of the population is going to church on a weekly basis. And culturally, it's a very outward show of religion. In Denmark, it is very private, unspoken. And from what I've learned, most people are not believers here. But what's so interesting to me is the core Protestant values persist. They really do in mainstream society, and people live out Christianity just like it's natural. So caring for those in need, they have a very strong welfare state here. Equality for all, whether it be gender, sexual orientation, people are treated with dignity no matter who they are. There is kindness, there is caring. People don't think of themselves, they think of everyone else in the community first. And it starts in childhood and persists through adulthood. So even though this is a country built on Protestant religion, there's a state church, the Evangelical Lutheran Church, this country is very pro-religious choice, or no religion at all. But what's fascinating to me is they live like a good Christian would live, pretty much throughout the country. And it is in stark contrast to what I saw every day in the States, in this other country where so many people so outwardly proclaim the word of the Lord, but will not practice it in day-to-day life, and actually do quite the opposite. All this to say, I am so glad to live in Denmark, and I still strongly believe in separation of church and state as a proud Lutheran.